as I was older and we met in the sanctuary of a morning. We had a choir loft with young kids, and I was in there. And one morning, Nell Shy, who was an old maid and was a teacher, and she was very stern, and she came walking in that big room. And she walked up into the choir loft and got my hand and pulled me out of the choir loft and marched me in front of all those people and took me into the primary room. And she said, "Here, play this organ." And I said, "I can't play with one hand." She said, "That's all right." So I had to pump that organ with my feet and play. I was scared to death. I was born in 1919, but that was just one day. And I went with my folks as a baby, but then I don't remember too much until I was in the primary department. And that's what the picture is, of the primary department. And it was in what the nursery was in the old building. And it was just in that one room. And we had tables and we had chairs. And a big old pump organ. And Nell Shy and Clara Wiley and Doris Pinnell Rhodes were the teachers. And we sat at those little tables, and I remember getting little bunny rabbits to put on our name when we were there, when we were present. We got a little bunny rabbit, and we would sing songs. We stayed in that nursery until we were older, and then we went to, we would have our opening exercises in the sanctuary. And every Sunday we sang "Onward Christian Soldiers," every Sunday. And at the end we would say, "Let the words of my mouth and meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. Amen." And then we would go to class. This was during the Depression when I was a child. And they needed coal for their furnaces at the church. And Walt Wiley got up on the platform, and he looked out in the pews, and he said, "Flint Silly will give a ton. Webb Shy will give a ton. Somebody else will give a ton." That's how we got our coal. That I remember. The next class I remember being in was Aunt Cora Pinnell's class. And she wore glasses that was fastened to a lapel on her dress. And she would pull them down on a chain and lick the nose pieces and put them on her nose. So when Betty Ogle and I would play, we were always playing like we were Aunt Cora Pinnell, and we would do that every time. But she told us how to spell Aaron. Big A, little a, R-O-N. And then I very distinctly remember her telling us this story about Hagar and Ishmael. And they had to leave the country. And the Ishmael had to leave his daddy. And I felt so bad for little Ishmael.
Aww.
I reckon I was 10 years old because I was in the 5th grade and Maryellen was in the 4th grade. And Olive Hahn called and wanted us to be at her house on Saturday morning. So we went, and we were going to sing. She said we were going to sing a duet. It was for Christmas. And we were going to sing "There's a Song in the Air." So Maryellen sang the soprano, and Olive taught me the alto just like I was learning a song. And that was our debut of singing. There's a song in the air, there's a star in the sky, there's a mother's deep prayer, and the baby's low cry, and the stars and the stars while the beautiful sing, and the infant of Bethlehem worships where cradles the King.
Sorry.
Yes, well, that's when we start singing.
Yeah.
So then we sang at funerals and weddings and all sorts of things.
I was going to say that I'm real upset about the music now, where they cut it from the schools and everything, and I think it's such an important part of life. And as I used to watch the Lawrence Welk show, and he always ended with "Keep a song in your heart," and I truly miss that. And I mean the music that had a melody, harmony, and you could understand the words. That type of music.
Wow.
One time Maryellen was singing for a wedding, and I was playing the organ, and it was the Lord's Prayer. So after it was over, she said, "Did you look at your music?" I said, "No." She said, "Well, I had your music with no words, and you had mine." Luckily, she knew the Lord's Prayer.
And we had sung it several times, so I knew the accompaniment. So I just sang it like we were supposed to.
That's exactly right. Somewhere in there, I took music lessons from Lucille Kirshner, and they cost 50 cents a lesson. And I got to go to Indianapolis with Lucille, and we would take lessons. And any organist knows that you don't play the organ like you do a piano, because you have to hold the key down before you get the other one down. Well, there was a lot of practice, but it was fun, and I enjoyed it. And I don't remember when we got the organ, but I remember on Easter Sunday, Lucille told me that she was going to be gone. She was going to Suzanne's in New York. So that meant I would have to play for church. So I got my music all ready. I even remember the dress I wore. I had made it. And I just marched out there, to the organ, and I looked out and all these people were out there. My heart was in my mouth, all right, that's for sure. But I finally settled down once I started playing. But I don't know how long I played. I played until it began hurting my hip, and the leg that you use for the pedals, that's what bothered. And so I was in the hospital, and I remember Cooney said to Shirley, "Veva's not coming back." So Shirley took over from there. And at that time, then we had classes of we girls. And then we decided, we were married, and we had children. We decided we would have a class of our husbands and the wives.
Up until then, there was no men's class. If you were 20 to 80, you were all in the same class.
Yeah.
Practically. Mm-hmm. Just one men's class.
So we
started that.
And Frank Sexton said he would be our teacher.
And that's the group we have a picture of.
We have a picture of our group. Then we went to the Passion Play in Bloomington. The Happy Hustlers.
Because we got things done.
Yes, we were. We're still happy, but we don't hustle.
Myrna and
Marvin Kirkhams, Tom and Marge Bennett,
Jim and Virginia Motley, Barney Pinnell and
Jeanette,
and
Marion and Pete Harmon,
and
Leland and Louise Mars, Evelyn and Paul McLeod.
There was a bunch of us.
We have had the Happy Hustlers for 63 years.
Wow.
And now there's 5 or 6 of us left.
Yes.
And some of them weren't there then.
Oh, no.
Gladys Seifler and Peggy.
No, they weren't there then.
They weren't there then. Tom and Marge and Veva and I.
Yeah.
There's all that's left. Of the original.
The men had a quartet.
Yeah. When Teagarden was here. It was Don Teagarden and Zeno and Carl and Max. Mm-hmm. And after Teagarden left, then that was the year that in '55, I think, that we formed the quintet. By Mary Pinnell asking us to sing at the talent show at the high school. So that was our first performance, I think, was there.
And it was a medley of 3 songs.
And then we went on for,
Then we won it.
Wow. Awesome.
is that the one we got to go to Terre Haute?
Yes.
They invited us to go to Terre Haute, sing over the TV at Terre Haute as a prize. That was our debut.
Yeah.
You may ask me why I'm singing, I can hear the joy bells ringing, I've been on a visit so inspiring. There's within my heart a feeling, I can feel the Spirit stealing, and I know from sin I am retiring. I've been with Jesus, and I'm so happy, I can feel it in my soul. When love he sought me, when love he bought me, I've been with Jesus, now I'm whole.
Look, the
Melatones.
melatonin.
Midway Melatones.
Yeah.
And we were singing as a quintet up at a lady's house up north of Kansas. And I don't know what, must have been for Christmas, because the last song we sang was Silent Night. And as we started that, she had a canary there, and it started singing with us, and it sang all through the song while we were singing Silent Night, so that was pretty special. And Max had kept a record of all the times we sang, and he said we made 150 appearances as a quintet. We went to all kinds of churches, meetings, and talent shows, and family affairs, and all kinds of things. And we'd won several talent shows. We always gave the money back to whoever was putting on the show, or unless we bought something, we did buy the candelabra for the church, and we put money in on the organ fund, but most of it went back to whoever was trying to make the money. We disbanded that in 1967 when Carl moved to California. I think the first adult choir, as I remember it, was started by Mrs. Storm. When she's here, she got a group of us together, and that's when the Christian parsonage was over here where Ellen lives now. And we went over there and sang. And then after that, Nettie Arterburn came, and she took over. And she really taught us a lot about singing, because she had been a
Doctor of music.
in college, and then, so she taught us a lot. And then when Habermills were here, Kathy, his wife, took over as choir director, and she decided that probably she should be a substitute director in case she couldn't be there some Sunday. So she said she appointed me. And I just wanted down there that I didn't volunteer for the job. But I took it, and I really didn't know what I was doing, but the choir, they stuck with me, so we had the choir. And practiced once a week, and usually had a special about once a month. And they were such a dedicated bunch, unless the snow was 6 foot deep and they couldn't get out of bed because they were ill or something, why they were there to practice. And then when Seifler was here, I was working down as cook down at school at that time. He came down there one day and wanted to know if I wouldn't direct a community Christmas cantata. And I think I said no. But anyhow, he kept talking and talked me into it. So we started that, and I had several of those. And I quit directing choir in about 1991, I think, when Butts was still here. When we did all this singing back there, we didn't have all this electronics and stuff, and we maybe had a microphone to sing, one microphone. And for the choir, I think maybe we had 2 on each end. And that was, and sometimes they would come up to the microphone with their spatials. But we didn't have all this way to make things are extra spatial like they are now, the sound. And I still have to sing, but my voice don't agree with me a lot of the times. My prayer and hope to see the music back in the new church, and hopefully, once again, we might be able to have a choir and have music, spatial music. I miss that. And we both, had tragedies in our lives, so that we can't replace too, but personal tragedies.
The building can be replaced.
Yeah.
Can be replaced, and it will go on, and as it goes on, everybody's going to have some memories, like we had of our church. So be careful what you do, somebody might remember it.
Contrary to thought, we haven't been here ever since the first church was built.
No.
It was shortly after that.
But I do think it probably still smelled new
Yes.
when you guys were there.
It must have.
She was born in 1919, and I was born in 1920, so.
1919, so you started coming to church when it was 10 years old.
Well, yes. Yes. Well, I don't know how this happened,
I don't know how it
but
started either.
we said that when we are in the cemetery, Mary and I, that we would come out at night and there's nobody around, and we're going to sing and we're going to fly around
And meet halfway.
and meet
Because
halfway.
One of you's on the north.
She's in the east, and I'm in I'm in the east end, and she's.
I'm in the west
Oh,
end.
yeah, the west end.
Yes, and then we were going to sit on the stones and sing. And then the quintet, they're all down, they're out there too. So I think maybe we will include them.
Well, Lucille's there too. She can play
Yes,
the piano.
yes.
That was in 1930.
I have got it, I think, in one of my
1934.
1934.
Our class, several of our class was baptized at the same time.
Oh, then I was baptized when I was a kid.
You weren't with that group?
No, because I'd already been
Oh,
baptized.
well, several of us.
You had not been
But
baptized.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, Valentine's when I did it.
Reverend.
Yes,
Well, you
okay.
Baptized us.
Okay, and you said several in our class. and
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember that at all. I just remember.
I don't remember who they were except me and some others.
That's with me.
And,
I don't.
and Mrs. Valentine, I think she was a beauty operator. And after we were baptized, of course her hair was a mess, and mine was naturally waving. We went in there and she waved my hair for me.
Oh, bless her heart. One of our ministers was Reverend B.S.M. Edwards. He said, "You know what the BSM stands for?" He said, "It's bologna sausage meat."
Most preachers I know are.
I
full
never
of a lot of
forgot
baloney.
it. I
She
never.
has a list of all the ministers.
Yes, I do have a list of all the ministers.
By the way, that's another thing we have in common. Both of our mothers were named Lola, and our grandmothers were named Ida.
And the two Lolas were born the same day.
Yes, that's right.
The same day, and the two Idas did not know each other.
Huh.
That doesn't have anything to do with the church. That's just
No.
born in this house.
I
down
was
here.
born in that house down there.
I was born out east of town here in the big house at Golf's Hutchinson.
Charlie
Yeah.
Goff lived.
Only it wasn't that house.
It was that little house on the other side of it.
Well, no, I was born in a big house.
Oh, you were born in the big
But
house.
it wasn't this big house.
Yeah. Okay.
There was another big
Another.
two-story house, and it was torn down. This was built.
See, when you say I was born in a big house, I'm going to put a picture of the prison
Yeah.
Yeah.
behind you.
Yeah. Okay.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Edie was born in the little house.
Yeah. Okay.